Hi. You know, it is an act of humility to be grateful for one's life. How better of a way to start your day in this simple and easy way? Finding a comfortable posture and undisturbed environment is helpful for those who want to initiate such a feeling inside. An awareness, a perception, transcends one's societal consciousness and pressures to come back to your own foundation, whatever that means. Oftentimes, we take so much for granted that our vision is obscured by all the detritus of our world. It is like a sandstorm across a great desert, and we are blinded. So we go through our days and our weeks, our months and our years with a sense of ignorance. It can be with a sense of joy or pain, but with a sense of ignorance. In whose opinion is anything ignorance or wisdom? I would say common sense. I would say it's better to be open to the truth, accepting, allowing, and then making one's best way forward from this. The art of meditation and mindfulness is a hands-on and necessarily a practice one needs to tend to every day. It does not mean that one need to spend hours and hours in a meditative posture. No. But it does mean that one should consider spending one's whole day as aware as possible, and acting accordingly. There are so many things in our society that we can just acknowledge, we can see easily. Things going the wrong way. People too skinny. People too fat. This is common sense. And yet, billions of us are this way. Changing, of course, every day. The molecular, cellular, physical structure of each of us is always changing. One never weighs the exact same thing from one to the next day. There's so much. This is the obvious physical manifestation, but understanding these things too are not in and of themselves alone, but rather part of a greater consensus of one's being, one's stress, one's success, one's view on the world, on themselves. To think that you are going to gain or lose weight because of your physicality declining or consuming more foodstuffs is a little naive. There are more factors involved than just this. Sometimes people think, oh, well, I'll exercise more also to firm up my muscles or to tone them down. Again, it is a part of an answer, and it is a valuable part. Both of those concepts are very valuable, but they are not the whole picture. It is like having a car. You have the headlights, you have the engines, you have the steering wheels, you have all these different pieces, but you don't have wheels. So with all of these other things being considered, how then are you going to move? You're not. You're sitting on your muffler in your backyard with the engine roaring and the headlights making the dark light, but there's no wheels turning to move you about. So if you have these kinds of notions going through your mind, remembering that they are not as simple as they might seem to be, or that people make them out to be, you must help determine. You are an important part of the equation. Look inside. This is mindfulness. This is meditation. To be aware of whom you are. The failures and successes, the problems and the good things that each of us confront each day of our lives. If we can do so with a widened perspective brought upon by our practice, then we are luckier than most. Remembering we are bundles of miracles, skinny or extra wide. This is a given. To be humbled by one's own presence in life, in one's own awareness of the immensity of our creation, of our universe, of that which our religions postulate and share, support. A widening sense of perspective brings humility, brings a sense of reverence, a sense of amazement. And if further we can find in ourselves a sense of appreciation just for having this sense, this moment, this is all we have, is this moment. The moment we've just had is gone. The moment to come is yet to be born. This moment, to be appreciative that we are alive. That change is not even something we need to work on as much as it is going to arrive in this next moment, because nothing has ever been the same twice. It may be very similar, and it may seem that your days are similar and that they don't change, but they do. Everything in the universe, by its nature, energy, is changing constantly, all of the time. So just remembering how lucky we are to be aware, to be present here now, as these bundles of miracles. We are breathing down and around your heart into your lungs, pulsing, your heart nestled, squeezing blood through your arteries and veins, remembering these and many other processes, making us whom we are. Is this not a reason to be grateful? I think it is. Maintaining a sense of this dignity, this gift of our good fortune to have this life. Feeling deep inside of oneself your own shimmering majesty. What's better than this? To be alive is to be ecstatic. Feel it. Find a way to your own being That's what this meditation and mindfulness is about. Develop a relationship with one's own self, one's own being alive. Putting one's hands together, thumb to thumbs, palm to palm, and finger to fingers, your digits, your fingertips, lightly, feeling the warmth, acknowledging that your being is exuding energy all of the time, remembering this, glowing with energy, shining in self-realization. This is what we're talking about. It is as simple as this. Self-affirmations, positive energy. These are tools. Be careful what you read and listen to, and what I'm saying too. There are always improvements in what one is doing. For the longest time, I thought life was only 1 billion years old on this world. Turns out, it's 3.5 billion years old. We can always learn and improve. Everyone. At least everyone I know. Thinking. Thinking about what we're doing all day. You notice how I don't say all day long or all day short. It is not to further define the day. It is not to put a connotation on a day being long or short. You see, everything has its nature. Everything has its influence. Be very careful in what you do and say, how you act, toward your own being as well as everyone else. These kinds of knowledge, experience, wisdom should be taught from when children are born. And to some degree they are. And yet to many degrees they are not. We need to revitalize our educational system. We need to revitalize our societies, our cultures, our spiritual traditions, as we always do. That's the problem when someone doesn't. They get stale, left behind, instead of being new. Every moment is new. You must, you need, you can, you want to keep pace. You want to be fresh because you need to be. All the energy excitedly moving about you, the ecstatic creation we are. What do you think? That's what's important. Open oneself to allow different kinds of thoughts and philosophies and statements to enter one's thinking. And accept that there are many different ways to view our world. In fact, as many ways as there are individuals. And use your own best judgment. Use your own best judgment on how to proceed. The answers The answers are always blowing in the wind if you care to listen, if you make an effort to listen. Just as the questions easily arise, so too do the possibilities of the answers, understanding that there are an infinite number of factors in everything. Just like we were saying in the beginning of this podcast about one's physicality. It is not one thing or another. It is everything. It is anything. It is our good fortune to be alive. It is our goal, our aspiration to continue to grow, to nourish, plant seeds, learn through the processes of our physicality, our breathing and our pulsing, to flow. And through our flowing, accumulate enough self-worth and understanding to glow in one's own realization of your being. Your hands together, you feel the warmth, you feel the energy between them. Hello. To shine in one's own self-illumination. It's easy. Practice all day. Namaste. This is the best time of day, the morning, to get you started. Seek and ye shall find. The reason these words resonate for thousands of years is because they are true. Know thyself. Again, for thousands of years, these words are emblazoned upon hearts and souls. Why? Because they are true. The world is a stage, and we are actors in this grand play, Shakespeare. For hundreds and hundreds of years, these words ring in one's ears, in one's heart, in one's soul. Rise, Homo sapiens. Rise, my cousins. It is the dawning of the Aquarian Age. Namaste.